Good morning, everybody. We have different names for patterns like bullish 180s, downside shakeouts. This is one that we call the commission generator. It's chopping back and forth, consolidation. And it could be viewed as a bullish consolidation to an extent. I mean, after moving up as it did, it created a void below and it's not pulling back. It's going sideways. So while it's considered bullish, because the move up preceded it, it also creates the potential for it to be a top. We don't know yet. And so as it chops back and forth in this particular time frame, you don't do anything. Because you can, short-term puts and calls like 0 DTE on SPX. Directionless price patterns tend to be good. But you could be caught on one day. There's always risk, right? There is no true no-brainers. Another way of interpreting what's happening here is that the spring is being wound because traders are uncertain as to the next direction to some degree. What preceded it always suggests a belief that it's going to continue in the direction that preceded it. So, it's getting even tight. Well, today, of course, is just beginning. But look at the last 2 days, and we're looking at the futures here. The last 2 days are consolidating on the top of a bullish 180 bar, right? The bullish wide range bar, and the last Thursday was a down bar, so it's a bullish 180, and prices are consolidating at the top there. So there's still a belief that it's going to continue to move higher. I'm going to get to SPX, but one thing I noticed this morning looking at I can show you. It's cool. Is that there's a huge open interest. Where is it? Yeah. So somebody's buying lottery tickets is based on not somebody. A lot of people are buying lottery tickets at the 56.85 strike on the S&P. I'll just show you, which isn't all that far away. Yeah, it's definitely possible to get there. Now, depending on could be the Nvidia news tonight, or by the end of the week. I think these are 0 DTE. I'd have to open up TC 2000, but I think all of these that it's showing me right here is 0 DTE. They must be. Anyway, so these are options that by definition are going to expire today. So more of a lottery ticket, someone spending a dime, 12 cents, whatever, that this is going to pop up there today. I don't know why it would, since just the market is just marking time here that, on the Nvidia news and whatever economic news that happened. But it was interesting to see such a large, bets going on that it's going to go up. And is that a sign that it won't? Possibly. We don't know. We just look at the price patterns, and right now they're just going nowhere. Yesterday's strikes weren't touched. They came up a little bit from where they were. As things tighten up, they tend to get tighter and tighter. So nothing going on. Last I looked on the SPY, it was just consolidating, right up there, essentially unchanged. You can see the changes here in the futures just down a little bit, not a big deal. So we'll just see if today just continues to mark time or what possibly could get things moving. I don't think there's any economic events of significance. I'm just looking to be sure. No, there's some oil numbers coming out at 10:30, so I keep that in mind if you're doing anything related to oil stocks. Oil. All right. So, so NASDAQ futures drifting lower. Mm, not a big deal. More of a waiting, but certainly weakness there. Um, Somewhat as it drifts lower, hasn't violated any support, but there is no support. There is no support because of the way it went up. Remember our discussion early in the week? If there are no pivots, that means the demand was strong because this is moving up, and essentially there's no support. Now I know on an intraday basis there's some support right here because these candle bodies or these opens and closes are overlapping each other. You have to squish that up a little bit to get to it. So you can see it. It's right. That little area is right there. That's a rule. Not a rule, it's a concept. Let's just call it a fact. When you have candles, the opens and closes are overlapping each other, you're going to find a base in a smaller time frame, and there it is. So we bring that down here, and as you can see, it's holding on that support. It's just chopping back and forth a little bit and break. Well, today could be, for whatever reason, that would trigger selling to begin. Closing under this pivot, you've got this topping or distribution scenario, which is always looked at as distribution because it was preceded by going up, but it's got to break down. So if it breaks down under this area, not that support is that far away, but on an intraday basis, it's relatively far. And as I move my cursor down on the hourly chart, you see the next area of opens and closes that are um, overlapping each other, which is right here. And there you can see the base on the intraday time frame. So that would be the next support level. Um, it just seems unlikely, just based on the price actions that we've seen, that all of a sudden the selling would begin to accelerate lower. But if semiconductors began to fall apart for whatever reason, that would be a major influence, of course. So without the 24-hour chart, you can see there's some overlapping there, and there's an unfilled gap down here, and you can right down there. So if you're just looking at the Qs, you'll want to keep an eye on that area in the 20 MA. I would just suggest setting an alert there just to be aware. If it gets down there, pay attention. All right. Let's look at the Dow. Yeah, up there, new all-time highs. I guess that's now a new closing high for the Dow. Big deals, just chopping back and forth, not doing much of anything. Transports, back a little. Not much has been going on, right? It's been kind of boring. Not much going on. Waiting for that news. What is the video, the economic news, consolidating the move up that was preceded this week. So the markets are on hold, waiting for some information that could get them moving again. Would you review SPY chart? Yes, I will. All right. So interest rates aren't doing anything. SPY chart consolidating, chop back and forth. Here's the data. It's at the top of yesterday's range, give or take. It's not going anywhere. You can see the hourly chart, 65-minute chart. It's just marking time, So it's run up. Can it clear the highs and go up? Will it clear the lows? We're waiting. Yeah, kind of interesting is those that look at moving average crossovers. Um, the 20 crossed under the 50, close to the low. And if this breaks out, the 20 will cross above the 50. And so always going to be lagging information. And just pointing it out, we don't put much weight in moving average, little to no weight on moving average crossovers, because they're always going to be late. It's like people start using different moving averages or shorter ones, trying to figure out that they're going to, get ones that'll give them good signals all the time. Right? Bitcoin down a bit, pop up after being lower, marking time. Gold marking time. But traders are buying the dip. And we've got silver, not doing too much of anything, kind of a grinder. Look, no pivots over here. You got a pivot high. It reaches it, gets knocked back down. And crude oil just continues its erratic, whippy price action. There's not clean patterns that are what we would call high probability patterns. And the market is consolidating, but it's mid caps, holding up pretty darn well, but up near resistance. You got a weekly chart that's just a big trading range. Just been going nowhere for the whole, almost the whole year, but getting wide and whippy. And it was tighter here. How do I know it's wide and whippy? It was tighter here. It was even much tighter here. And now you've got these exaggerated moves up and down. And they're often preceded by a trend break. So one of two things can happen, especially with the news that's coming out. It could whip all the way back down. I don't think there's enough time for the second part of what I was going to say, right? Meaning, often what happens is it goes sideways up there for a while, what we call bullish price action, and then that, when a move like this, it could take a week or two. It consolidates up there, and then eventually it breaks higher. No, look, no matter where we look, we're waiting here. Drifting down. Semiconductors were weaker. IWR. So I'm gonna look at. Yeah, so Russell mid cap, where you're looking at like SPY L SPYL. I think that's it. Low volatility. I forget the name. SLV. So what does that say? Besides, it's going up in a very bullish way. Range is about equal in size. There's no pivots. Money is rotating to where they believe there's safety. Low volatility index. So you can go and look at the stocks that are in there, see what's advancing. Probably not all of them are, but it's going where it believes there's value or safety. RSP is equal weighted. And you can see it's not as tight as the low volatility, but it made a new high. So money is trying to find places where underperformers, there's safety, something goes wrong. I'm putting my money to work, but if something goes wrong, I won't get hurt as bad, and so on. We've looked at KRE early in the week. It's not doing much of anything here. Internet, that's the story. Things are just waiting. Is it all about NVIDIA? To some extent. I mean, it's a major stock. It has influence. AI is the theme of the day or the year or the future. And they're the big guy, obviously. And so some implications certainly are there as to, are they making still gobs of money? Are things slowing down? And so all eyes will be on that tonight when they report. So, and energy, not just flip flopping around. For the most part, most things are a mess. It'll be looked at. This is interesting. We have the ETF letter in this through this bottom here, and why agriculture is starting to move up. Well, I guess it's got to be supply and demand, but are there any other implications for that? I really don't know. So I'm just speaking as I'm thinking here. But we noticed this bottoming pattern, this downside shakeout, and this is beginning to move up nicely, and it looks like it'll continue to move higher. But overall, just a big old trading range down there. So we'll see what today brings. All right, all yours, Dan.
Good morning, and don't forget MT Live today on zero DTEs, which we love doing. Obviously, Friday for stocks, and every day for Greg's SPX trading. But the concept is identical for whatever DTE you do, but we're just the benefit is you don't cut a hold it overnight. Yeah, JWN, I know. Yeah, we did a condor on that. And you know what? I did not change my order to get filled. I had actually had a fairly big position on. So that's disappointing. I left a lot of money on the table. I think we did the 19s and the 24s. Yeah, we sell both call spread and credit spread, and you know the strategy is sure it's going to gap, but we don't want it to gap crazy, and you make your volatility contraction. So yeah, that was a perfect one. Hey Raul, shoot, I just deleted what symbol you gave me the other day. It was a buy setup, and it worked beautifully. Um, EOSE. And well, first of all, just bear in mind it is a buy setup. It's not a great one with all these tails, and you don't have good support here, but it's staying in the upper 50%. But also keep in mind it's an over-the-counter stock. Whenever you see 4 decimal places, I would prefer like a 3-bar turn just to prove. Let it go longer in the upper 50%. Well, that's my take. Alex, I had Qualcomm alarm go off, but it's pulling in here a little bit. Nice consolidation. This, what was it, a week? Last week we did catch-up trades, and this is a perfect catch-up trade. It's lagging SMH. It'd be a beautiful put spread. Not a great directional yet because it's just going sideways here, but it's not going down. But the problem is holding any semi overnight is the risk with NVIDIA, of course. And then sure, you can get into fundamentals and say, all right, well, how correlated are they? Of course, which is a logical question to ask. Yeah, Raul, yeah. MRX is what he gave us the other day. I see that's a better buy setup. It's an igniting breakout. See how you got my 3 little bottoming tails here versus 1, and you had range expansion. Yes, this one is substantially better. In fact, I'm gonna add that to my MT Live buy setup. That's a beautiful one. All right, back to earning. Well, starting with earnings. All right, Sears, no pattern, bullish, but nothing to do. JWN, we know about. Box, uh, no pattern. It's not a good gap and crap at all. SMTC, this is the one I said if it opened flat or down a little, we'd buy over the high, but gap's messing it up. AMBA, yeah, gap and crab, absolutely. Gap and way the heck up here, absolutely. Now, can it gap and keep ripping another 10 bucks? Of course it can. I have no friggin' idea what it's gonna do. But that's not the question. The question is, does it set up in the first hour as some sort of exhaustion? Nick, that's a big old nasty gap. Look at this move from here to here, for plunk, all the way back down. JT saying heavy in Soxel. That's not a question, JT, so I'm not sure what you're asking. You know, it's actually a sell setup at resistance after a deep move, but it's not going down. I wouldn't do anything with this unless day trade, you know, again with NVIDIA. 94 bearish gap, PVH, you know, obvious call spread, but I doubt there's any juice. I don't like the way this trades. TWFG, never heard of this thing. That's why, recent IPO. Now, I don't see any prints, but if this can chop around for a couple days, then it could be a breakout. Let's see, Patrick, I see one print up here at 35, but that's nothing. That's a totally 100% ignore it till the market opens. RY. Now, I wish this gapped up to 119, and then this would be a gap and crap candidate, both for day trade and Friday call spreads, but you know, go through your checklists, obviously. LI, I had an alarm up here at 2140. It could have been a bottoming pattern breakout, but you know, slap down, we'll come back. Smuckers 116, that's a nasty gap. Call spread on a bounce. A Chewy, it was up here 2720, which would have been gap in yesterday's high. You see that yesterday's high right there. But I'll keep an eye on it. I got an alarm in 2710. DCI, I don't see a pattern or prints. ANF. We were contemplating a condor on this. I think we were talking about 130 or 128 and like 205. So despite the big gap down, that still would have worked beautifully for those who might have done it when we were talking about it in the green room. I had an alarm go off on Fizzler. We are long stock in the advisory letter, big inverse head and shoulder. And now it's a pullback to support. So I gave this as a put spread. $33. That's just junk. HMY junk. Bravo Zulu junk. Florida. Call spread. Gapping under all the consolidation. Call spread idea. 10, 15-minute low. Goggle, nothing. PDC, $23. Nasty gap, but no pattern. ASS. Oh, that's the condor. Bison, garbage. EDAP. You know what this pattern totally kind of reminds me of a little bit? Was this IQ that we shorted, and I put this in the trade review of the week, which just came out this morning. Look how no brainer short this was. And if you were swinging it, you're still hasn't traded over part of our time. So look, doesn't this look a little similar? All declining MAs, and you would have shorted right here yesterday. Shorted yesterday, stop over the topping tail. And look at that home run. But nothing to do now. Garbage. All right, done with those. These are leftover watch items. Nike continuation breakout. SPXQ. What is this? SPY something or other. Q. This is S&P 500 high quality portfolio. But it looks great. I'd rather buy this than the spiders. That's bullish. Yeah, these Bitcoin ETFs are all gapping down. So that was a breakout failure. Look, declining 20, declining, look, railroad declining. So I'm not saying that was not viable, but what was your target? Would have been the gap fill. So now there's more pain coming with those. Isler mentioned this thing is a bio. I don't think it was earnings because earnings are in 2 months. So that's getting whacked for some. It's a bio, so that's part of the DNA of these things. When you don't get a good ruling or something doesn't work, you will get punished. But the flip side is you can also have a lottery ticket gap up if they do work. Hubs, the one you mentioned, yeah, inverse head and shoulder, like it. In the window. Alarm 505. SMCI getting, wow. Remember yesterday, right into the market, this thing cratered. So we took our profit. We had a call spread. What's today? Wednesday. On Monday, we put on a call spread, took our profit yesterday, 5-minute high. And yeah, somebody said the short guys, the Hindenburg folks, they can cause some damage. They can. I mean, you all remember in the green room me saying, I don't know what this friggin' company does, but really? $1,100? Really? So the Hindenburg, I think, should have come out at $900. Then there had been a lot more air to come out. All right, so Fizzlers a go. Fizzler, wow, this is like JWN. Man, this thing is volatile. Wowzer. I should have, I didn't expect it to move this much. So, all right, JWN, no stop, break even also. You definitely have an open profit because it was only $1 wide, taken in 33 cents. All right, Chewy alarm went off. I don't chase stocks, but this is a big old inverse head and shoulder. That's going on my list. Greg is a loyal customer. He buys food for his dog Spot at this store. I hope it doesn't run. I would love to let it stabilize and we buy a 30-minute high. Yeah, let's watch Ambo. shit, I'm getting data disconnected, my internet unstable. It's not my internet, it's my stupid laptop connection is what's unstable.
I don't know, Dan, when I get that message, sometimes I found that the internet is unstable, but maybe it
Well,
is your laptop. I don't know.
well, remember, Greg, that's what started my nightmare of Dell repairs
Yeah.
was because it's unstable. And then the guy replaced the card, the network, the internet board. Then he came back, replaced the motherboard. And the dude told me, he says, I'm telling you, it's freaking Microsoft's operating system. It ain't hardware. Um, and so he's convinced me of that. Like my search button doesn't work. That has nothing to do with Dell.
Delta 20 on CMG, you know, it had a great day yesterday. It's up against the 50 MA here and up against the pivot high on the daily chart. So I wouldn't be looking to go long that unless it consolidated for a while intraday.
Yeah, man, but let's see how far away we can get. Um,
And there's some pretty juicy premium well below SMCI.
well, you're
I
playing
mean,
with fire. You're
you
playing with,
can probably get 100 points away.
yeah, okay, well, that's okay. But, and then the second issue is getting a midpoint. Because remember,
Yeah.
trying to get a $5 wide. Here, I'll just go to 400 just to show you. Yeah, that it's because this Hindenburg is jacking up. Absolutely. This is getting killed. Uh, 400s, the Hindenburg dude,
Who's that?
the short seller who comes
Okay.
out with reports and says your company is garbage.
Yeah.
So 370, 360 right now is 55. So, I got particularly if you don't mind owning it, I have zero problem. It's free. So you're getting it at wholesale, or you keep the premium. That's the most wonderful strategy. Schwab, I have an alarm, bottoming pattern, nothing to do. AVAB is that's a pro gap. So that, oh, I'm sorry, that's not the gap and crap one. Yeah. Alex mentioned it. That's a pro gap with a void. It's just not my wheelhouse. Big gaps with gap and go. I know it is for somebody, but I don't like. Oh, good. We shorted this yesterday. Low alarm went off. It's just not my wick. Gap and goes unless it's small, like that IQ. Look, this gap and go gap down a nickel or something. See, I am all over this, but not capping up $40 and going, or whatever the case. All right, new low alarm for this. Top 5.
I haven't looked at any premiums, but this thing got a little climactic yesterday. ON on holdings. Big wide range bar and a gap down today.
Wow, we should have been buying that on this day right here. And then adding the next day on Monday. Oh, my Apple alarm went off. Another inverse head and shoulder breakout, relative strength. Apple looks great, but I ain't doing it with the market falling here and then, other than day trade ahead of NVIDIA. I know it's not a competitor, but it's a FANG and it's sentiment. So it will definitely move with NVIDIA. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of I'm seeing crazy price action here at least on a 5-minute chart. So let's let things settle down. AD line gap down negative 800, which I like this. You don't have to rush. You want to buy us a coffee, Robert? I like their decaf cappuccino, not cappuccino, the caramel macchiato. If you can give me one of those, please.
And that's a sugar fix, Dan.
I know, that's why I only do them like once every 6 months. What's your question about Starbucks, Robert? Surely there's no long. If it were Friday, I would do a 0 DTE call spread. Yeah, it's just I don't like the 3 days to expiration. That's why I said if it were Friday, I'd be all over it. If it were Thursday after 3 p.m., I would do it also. Could it work? Yes. If there's any juice at 100, maybe. So give you do. I don't have time to do it. So you go through the checklist and tell me what Stripe premium, etc. Hey Ron, do me a favor. Every day you got to change your breakdown, your drop down to everyone. Yeah, Sam, I got this off your list. I had it as selling 85 naked puts. It was in the weekend letter. But I canceled it because of the spreads. But let me look again. The 80, 85 puts for September. 0 by 115. See, that's why I canceled it. But still, I'm not buying anything right now with the market whipping around. Um, I had a Microsoft alarm go off, but that is a 180. See, a Qualcomm alarm still looks good. Let me set a new alarm, 175.20. But I'm not, surely wouldn't be swinging it, but day trade if you're so inclined.
Cues are on 3 pivots on a 5-minute. We'll see if it holds. If not, could be start a little leg down. My charts are up if anybody wants to look. You can see they're stabilizing right away. How do you join? I will show you how to join. You will love it here. A lot of friendly traders that share ideas, good ideas.
All right, CopX, low alarm. Yeah, Alex showed me the picture of the futures. Uh, um,
So
Chewy
we
is
we never. Let me just. I'm talking on social media here, Dan.
yeah,
Um, we've never opened up the room just like a. Oh, you're friends with Dan? Well, that we might not let you in then. I'm kidding. We've never done like a free week, that kind of thing in the green room in all the years. And if we did, I'm sure it would fill it up. But for a couple of $7 for a week, we figured you got to be serious because most people that jump from free place to free place, they don't even spend time in them. They sign up and then They see whatever they're going to do, and you know, I mean, we do free every day here in the morning, and then we run it a little while after we do the pre-market, and then every Wednesday, is we stream it and we do a great thing every Wednesday at 12 o'clock. Yeah. All right, let's continue. Nice little bounce off of those pivots. So, Dan, this guy knows you quite well. He says he drank your wine and drove your CL63.
Oh,
I
that's
remember you had a
Benoit.
CL63.
Ask him if his name is Benoit. That's how you spell it, Benoit. Tell him hello. Yeah, he lived in my building.
Okay.
All right, then Chewy. Chewy, I told you I wish it didn't keep running. Um, Bravo Kilo, still fine.
Oh, he knows you well. He says you sold that to immigration.
Yeah. All right.
Well, you got to be sharp when you hang out with Dan.
Yeah, he works for Bank of America in Charlotte. We lived in the same condo.
KRE showing a little strength today. Things are just continue to be messy.
Yeah.
XBI came up off of the low, energy stabilized. So sellers whacked the cues when it flipped up there off of those
Mhm.
pivots.
Same with his cousin spiders. All right, got through all the alarms. AMBA is working nicely. And AVAB, wow, Alex, I don't know if you're in that, but yeah, that was a program.
NVIDIA getting a little weaker. 5 minute rolling over.
You know what? There's so much sentiment, and it's been rallying, and it's been up however many hundreds of percents. Wherever it opens tomorrow, I'm bearish. With a pattern, of course.
Other than Apple, the other big dogs are going lower. Russell heading for the gap fill.
And Diamonds IWM are high. No pattern, but totally opposite. No. I'm gonna kill this thing. My down alarm went off earlier. Let's reduce exposure. Yeah, this is weird volatility. So now